Okay, R.I.P. Paul Frankie. Anyway, I chased the iguana out of my yard. It was a happy ending. Now, I want to get to before I
You
get to
gave
dad jokes and three facts, Jack. I want to get to sports a little bit.
you gave the iguana a happy ending?
Yes.
Gave me the Frankie Spanky.
This is the Greg Cody Show with Greg Cody.
Pardon it.
Here's your host, Greg Cody.
I'm excited about this new episode, and usually I say this is a fun new episode, and I don't know if I would use the word fun this time because we're talking to our friends Ron and Rita Magill. You all know them. No explanation needed. And you know, it's a different conversation with them. We're not asking Ron about, whether a hippopotamus or a rhino would win a fight. This is different because, Rita lost her childhood home in the fires, the California fires in the Pacific Palisades. And we talked to her and Ron about that. It's an interesting conversation. I hope you hear it, and I'm looking forward to it.
Her parents still live in that home. You made it seem like just the childhood home that no one lives in anymore. Like it's her family's
Yes.
home. Her parents had to evacuate.
Yes.
It humanizes this wild LA fire story that everyone has been hearing about for these past few weeks. I was blown away by how great Rita was at sharing. It's a really good, interesting. I don't want to say good. It's obviously not happy, but I just think I was really impressed with the interview. I think it gives a great glimpse into the fires going on in LA.
All right, let's listen to it.
Dad, no, we're not going to listen to it yet because Yeti told you right before the show that we want to plug the YouTube channel at the beginning of the episode.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Yeti.
No, you do it, Dad. You plug
Okay.
it. Right.
This is the Greg Cody Show.
Okay. By the way, check out our YouTube channel, the Greg Cody Show YouTube channel, because this whole interview with Ron and Rita is going to be on our YouTube channel. We're going to have other stuff as well, but listen to it, and I think you'll really
And watch it.
Okay. Let me tell you one other thing about this interview that I hope you listen to and watch. It's a depressing subject, but there's human spirit involved. There's even humor involved. You know Ron Magill. So enjoy it. Really listen to it.
You are a writer. You are a journalist, if anything. This is such a depressing story. Before we get into this, I found a lot of hope. There was some great perspective listening to Rita talk about the things that really matter, how much pain there is in this, but what the things that really matter through it. And that's what I took out of it. And so
Yeah.
I'll be the optimist here, Gregory.
Can we bring in a fourth person to preview this interview?
No, let's do it till we're satisfied, baby. Rita, do you have any of your world famous bacon that I can smell through the Zoom that I can? Okay.
I wish. Tell Earlene next time, though. I'll
I
send her
will.
more.
I will for sure. Okay, I want to get right into this because everybody has been hearing for the past week plus about the awful fires, wildfires in the Pacific Palisades and elsewhere, but mostly that's been where the devastation is. And Rita, that's where you were raised. I mean, that's where you're from.
Yeah.
And I want to start before I'm finding out about how you two are dealing with this, because I know you go through something like this as a couple. But Rita, it was your house and it was your parents who were evacuated in an emergency basis. So I want to ask you first, how are they doing?
They are doing exceptionally well considering. I'm just very fortunate to have parents who I think part of it is because my mom works still, so she's in real estate and even at 82. And her first thought was, let me call my cousin who lives in Los Angeles, but more inland, find out if there's any availability in his complex. That was her first thought. As soon as they got to a hotel, once they had left the Palisades because it was mandatory to leave, and they had that forethought to be able to get organized. And I'm so proud of them because they have created already a little bit of a safe space. They'll be hopefully moving out of the hotel probably by maybe Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
And that's all I want for them right now is I want them to have a place that they can stop, and if they want to just shut the world off, they can do that. And
Right.
that's, mainly for sanity's sake, for all of us.
The key thing is they were able to sign a 1-year lease,
Yeah.
before the floodgates opened and everybody was looking for someplace, and now nobody can find anything.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah.
Rita, your dad is how old?
My dad's 85.
Okay. So physically, they're both fine.
Amazing.
What about emotionally? How is the toll on this? How are they dealing with it at that age? You've spent your whole life or 50 years in this house, and now it's obliterated. How do you possibly handle that?
I don't think they have yet. I think they're so focused on, and I think purposefully keeping themselves distracted with purchasing of furniture and filling out the miles of paper that they have to fill out for insurance, for FEMA, for everything. So thankfully, our daughter is going to be out there. She is out there, and she's going to help them this weekend kind of navigate a lot, because that's the thing, that they had income property that they're not going to get income from anymore.
Yeah.
So there's that. And I just think right now they're trying to stay busy, I think on purpose. I think maybe it'll hit them when we get out there next week.
Yeah, nobody's been out to the property yet.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that in a minute. We're recording this conversation on Friday, and the last info that I've read is that only about 30% of the wildfires in the Palisades area have been contained. 25 or so related deaths, more than 40,000 acres burned, more than 12,000 homes and other structures destroyed. I can't think of anything comparable to this. I've certainly never been through it at all. 30 years ago, my house was burglarized, and I thought that was traumatic. And this is eons beyond that. You mentioned you all are going to be able to go out there next week. Before we talk about that, what is the chronology of when this began? I think it was just a little over a week ago, Rita, that you must have gotten that phone call.
So I actually called my dad because my friend, who I'm very close to, I've known since I was 11, she posted on Instagram that there was a plume of smoke in the highlands of the Palisades, which is like a northernmost portion of the Palisades. And I instantly contacted my dad and said, hey, I saw this fire started, and you know that it only takes one shift in the wind. Could you guys please start getting a little organized? To which, just like we do with hurricanes, it's going to be fine. I'm monitoring it on the news, that kind of a thing. Yeah. And they're mad at themselves in a way, because they kind of just willy-nilly packed and left. And they didn't do it as methodically as they have in the past. So, I think a lot of things got left that they wish. I remember the first thing my dad said was, oh, I didn't grab our wedding photo album. So things like that are gone, know. I have some photos that I'm hoping to be able to take out for them, but it's hard. I mean, it's hard seeing pictures of my school and my church, my town, and it's a collective grief. So growing up in the Palisades, I've yet to figure out why we are so lucky that we all felt we had such a charmed life. I'm friends with people I was in school with since kindergarten, and we're 60 years old. We've been friends for 55 years, and we're having this collective grief. And, people say so many neat things like, you can take the kid out of the Palisades, but you can't take the Palisades out of the kid. And it was so true. Every 4th of July, we all loved to get together, because
the worst parade on the
planet. I think it was the best parade.
It's the worst parade on the planet. The 4th of July parade in Pacific Palisades is the worst parade on the planet.
That will just be a thing we will have to agree to disagree.
Okay.
But It's one of those parades where, of course, they ask the less busy actors to be our honorary mayors. So we've had everybody from Gavin MacLeod to Barry Williams,
Peter Graves,
Peter
Oh,
Graves,
wow.
a lot of,
people that we know.
yeah.
Yeah. Old actors.
Yeah,
Yes.
there you go.
So when I'm yelling with my girlfriends, oh my gosh, it's whatever Brady, and my daughter's like, why are you yelling at that old man?
Oh, wow.
So it's just one of those traditions that you knew you could walk up and down Sunset Boulevard from basically Drummond all the way up to Via de la Paz, and you would run into a myriad of friends. And it was like our catch-up time. And
Yeah.
that's the thing that we're all scared that it won't be again. And I think if I had only lost my house, but that town or my parents had lost their house
Yeah.
and the town had been okay, it would have been a little bit easier. But because the town was affected so much, I think
Yeah.
that's where it's really hitting us all.
I think on the flip side, though, Greg, to try to put a positive line on it, they're not suffering alone. This collective group that
Yes.
they have together, they all
Sure.
feel part now of, a very sad fraternity, so to speak. But I think it's harder when you feel like you're the only one. My gosh, I've lost everything. And, but now they've all lost everything and they can commiserate with each other. This
Sure.
chat they've got going on
Yeah.
online has been very therapeutic for them all.
No, and
Yeah.
what also has been also made me feel very blessed for where our family is right now is so many, I think, once their homes were paid off, just like many people have done here, they just don't pay their homeowners insurance anymore.
Yeah.
And so the problem is here you have somebody who's in their 80s, if not 90s, they have no homeowners insurance. And so everything is gone. Everything. It's not like you have a structure and you kind of maybe have to dry things out after a hurricane. There's nothing. And so I think that is hitting a lot of people. And I'm seeing people that I know that I always thought were like the wealthy families in the Palisades, and they're putting together GoFundMe pages, and it's just breaking my heart that has to be. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. And watching this from afar, I was amazed how this wildfire was moving like a freight train pushed by these enormous winds and everything, literally unstoppable. I mean, they're fighting it from the ground, from the air, and there must be, if you're going through all that, there must be an absolute sense of helplessness.
When I saw the images from my parents' Ring camera and the house across the street was burning like a major flame. And a lot of the problem too is that we all have natural gas in our homes.
Uh,
So unless they were able to knock out the line right away, it kept on burning, which made it even more of an inferno. And then knowing I saw not one hint of firefighter, I just was like,
The
well,
enormity of it was just a bit overwhelming. I mean, I remember her looking at the Ring camera and she's crying, "Where are the firefighters?" I go, "Honey, they're everywhere. They're trying to get there." It was such an enormous thing, and it went so quickly. And there was a helplessness being 3,000 miles away, looking through a Ring camera and watching your past memories just there it goes.
and I kept on praying, okay, our house has been there since 1920. She's been through a lot. She's been through earthquakes. She's been there. She's still standing. And I was like, oh, when I saw that Ring camera footage, it just,
And she had told me because when she was a young girl living in the house and her parents were both working, the police came to her door with another fire, said, "You need to evacuate now." And she told me it was one of the scariest times of her life when she was a girl still in school. And oh my God, what about my parents? No, you have to leave now. And so she was hoping again, just like that time, they got back and it was okay. The fire didn't get there.
right.
This time wasn't
And
the
this
case.
time, no, it was a hurricane. It was a blowtorch. There was no other words. It's a blowtorch. It had hurricane force winds, which also unfortunately prevented the air attack from because you can't put those people in danger with the planes and the fire retardant stuff or the helicopters to come at 100-mile-an-hour winds above. No, you can't. So it was just anything that could have gone wrong or been a barrier
It was a perfect storm. It was a
occurred.
perfect storm.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the greater loss here isn't the structure itself, but all of the irreplaceable stuff inside it. The first time that you teared up, you're talking about your parents' wedding photo album. I mean, you know, was there anything they were able to take, or they just didn't have time to do it, or?
It was more they weren't thinking that it was gonna be any different than it had been maybe other fire seasons.
Yeah.
And so I think they were just, I guess, you're innocently optimistic that you're gonna just not need to go. In fact, my sister, who unfortunately has most of her stuff there since she's living quasi-nomadically, she didn't even think to tell my parents, hey, grab my passport, grab my birth certificate, grab my will,
Wow.
all in an
Yeah.
envelope in the room that she stays in when she stays with them. It didn't even occur to her to ask for my parents to go get that stuff.
I think in some ways, Greg, it was like us with hurricanes before Andrew. You know, it was
Yeah.
like, okay, all right, let's do it. We're just going to go through the motions. We had a hurricane, Hurricane David. I remember that was my first hurricane. I said, geez, they made all this hoof and puff about this. It was just a lot of rain and and we got lackadaisical. I mean, since Hurricane Andrew, people take that stuff seriously now. I think fires in California are going to, not that they weren't taken seriously before, but I think they understand now how critical and how widespread they can be and how rapid it can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I I wanted to mention Hurricane Andrew, Ron, because you dealt with it back when it happened in a way that hit you personally and professionally. I mean, your zoo was pretty much obliterated by Hurricane Andrew, and you had to rebuild the whole thing. And I don't want to parse pain versus pain because it's all terrible, but is there any way to put into context a massive hurricane like that versus this raging wildfire? Because I can't imagine that any disaster is the equivalent of this. And thank God the deaths so far haven't been more than they are.
I
Right.
agree with you wholeheartedly, Greg. As a matter of fact, I made a comment on a social media post. I said, I thought when I went through Hurricane Andrew, I'd seen the worst of natural disasters, but I was wrong. Hurricanes can affect a larger area. There's no question about that. But the totality of the destruction of fire is very hard to describe. I mean, in a hurricane, yeah, okay, your house, a lot of things get waterlogged, some things get destroyed beyond repair, but there's a lot of things you can dry out. There's some things you can save. You can find some things. There's dust. There's nothing but dust. We saw a photo of Rita's house, and all that's there is a fireplace. The bricks of the fire. There's
Yeah.
nothing. This was a 3-story home, and
Yeah.
there's nothing. I mean, it's unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a photo of part of the devastation, and this couple had built this personalized wrought iron gate for their teenage son who had died, and their house was entirely obliterated, but the wrought iron gate still stood. And I don't know, I don't know whether that's a silver lining or whether that makes you cry all the harder. I really don't.
No, and
You know,
the other thing that survived without any damage was our garbage can from Los Angeles County, trash.
A bunch of them survived.
I mean, I want whatever gets rebuilt to be made of whatever that trash can is made of, and we'll all just have to have ugly green houses because
oh my God.
it's mind-boggling that
Yeah,
the entire house is gone. We have the chimney and then
trash can.
a trash can.
That's
Not melted.
insane. Aren't
Not-
they made out of plastic?
That's what I thought.
I don't know what they're made of, but whatever it is, we need to investigate because that was the most bizarre, and then like our church is gone, and our church was across the street from Sunset Boulevard from the fire station. So one story that I did read was that the fire captain, whose brother is a parishioner at our church, he lives in Sherman Oaks. And so, but he said, I'm going to go in to see if I can salvage. And he was able to salvage like 3 chalices that were damaged. He just didn't want those religious articles to get ransacked and stolen.
Yeah.
The tabernacle was intact. It's dusty, and I don't know how it survived. We have a 300-pound granite altar that also survived. And even our stained glass windows. So the one interesting thing about our church was that the stained glass windows, instead of being held together by lead, the stained glass were being held together by concrete. They were very Art Deco. All of us kids, we love to talk smack about it because we thought it was the ugliest church on the planet. But it was our church. It was where we did all of our first,
Yeah.
communion, confession. And all of us like jokingly say, well, at least the confessionals are gone. So that first confession.
Right.
Um, but it's crazy to see that he was able to find that. And I think he found like 2 bottles of unbroken oils. So he called our Monsignor, who's at a different parish right now, and said, I just want to let you know I was able to find these articles and save them at the firehouse for you. So we're all trying collectively to be there for each other.
Yeah.
And so it's so nice. I mean, I have friends that are saying, Rita, have you seen your parents' house? Do you need me to go by and take a picture? And I said, no, I think we're going to try and go there next week, which is going to be probably rough.
Yeah. I'm trying to imagine what your mindset will be on the flight over there, what you'll expect to see. If I were being optimistic, I have to think that, and maybe I'm being naive, I have to think that if you're allowed to pick through the rubble, you may see something buried underneath that is intact,
You know, we
just something.
Yeah.
we purchased metal detectors. We purchased the hazmat suits and gloves and stuff to be able to sort through it. I don't know if we're going to be able to because authorities are still saying, well, we're not going to let you sort. We'll bring you to the property to see it, but we're not going to let
Oh,
anybody sort through it until we've gone through everything and made sure there's no hazardous materials. So
okay.
I don't know what we're going to be able to actually sort through, but we'll hopefully get up to actually look at the property and see what we have, and I can photograph it and document some things.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it's a roller coaster of emotions,
Yeah.
but like I said, this group that they have together, all of her classmates and friends from when she grew up, they're great. Like she went to a religious school that they all went to, and they sent a picture of the school totally gone. I mean, burnt down, and somebody put a caption on it that said, holy F. Okay. And then one person responds and goes, well, I don't think Sister such and such would approve of that caption,
Yeah.
in a joking way. So they're
We're
Right.
trying to find levity wherever we can because I mean, we were all joking about the first thing was dry January. Who decided we were all going to try dry January? That was
Right.
a dumb decision. So we're all giving each other a pass that we'll try it maybe next year. Maybe.
Yeah, right.
Because we all, that was,
They all need their drinks this
it's
January.
just, this is what it happened. It was just so beyond,
At the
Yeah.
beyond.
end, oh, Greg, what I tried to explain to Rita, Rita's, of course, listen, I've been very fortunate. I've had many celebrations in that house, traveled there many times over the years. But Rita, of course, is much more attached to it. But what I tried to get her to understand, and I think she does understand that, is that, listen, we're so fortunate her parents basically, even though her mother was still working somewhat, they're basically retired. Both of their children are out. They have their own careers. They have their own lives. Think about these parents that are there with young kids.
Yeah.
And what are they doing? Their schools are gone. They've got to go to another school. They've got to translocate. A lot of them are working out of a shelter. Now, this is the Pacific Palisades. These are people who are used to nice comfort and such. And it's not that they're working out of a shelter, not necessarily because they can't afford something else. There's nothing there anymore. Everything's grabbed up. And how
Yeah.
do you explain this to your kids? And there's no grocery store, there's no post office, there's no gas stations, there's nothing. And so many people lost their cars. Her parents at least got out with both of their cars, even though her sister's car got burned up in the house. But
Right.
both of her parents got out with their cars. I mean, if you look at some of the video, I looked at a video the other day and I saw in succession, I saw like an Aston Martin, a Tesla, and a Bentley just burnt to scrap and bulldozed off the side of the road. I'm thinking, wow, this is just, it's beyond. The word that has been used is apocalyptic, and it's the first time I think the word really applies.
Yeah. No, it does.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, some of
and
those photographs look like a war scene.
Exactly. It looks like an atomic
no,
bomb
and
went
so
off
even
there.
if your home survived, which one of my friends, Christina, the one that my parents evacuated to her home, um, the house is there, but you have no water, you have no electricity. So those are the homes that I worry about being looted because there's actually something to loot. And my parents, maybe not so much, but her house, she can't even go back to. So they do still have to find, so even if your house survived, you still have to find alternate housing because there is no town. So
And,
there's
and,
Yeah.
nothing. There's nothing. So even though you're okay home wise, but you're still displaced because you cannot go back home. You can't. And I mean, maybe those people can go back to go retrieve clothing and things that my parents don't have right now. Um, but you can't live there.
the,
So
the,
you're
the
still
fact the
finding,
fact is, it's almost a curse that your house survived,
yeah,
because now you can't claim the insurance. I mean, you could probably claim a tax break because the value is going to go down because there's no neighborhood. But what do? You can't live there again. You're by yourself. There's literally, it's like one house and then 100 around you gone. You're in a dead to have
Wow.
to live there and look out your window every day and look at that. Come on. I mean,
yeah.
even when utilities come back, you're literally a tree on an island by yourself.
Right. Plus,
Yeah.
it must be literally unhealthy to remain there amid
Oh,
all of
air
that.
quality is terrible on top of it
Oh,
all, you know? So it's
right.
one of those things where there is no, there's no upside yet. And my only hope is that, and that's the other thing, is that our hometown never ever had fast food. It was always mom and we never had a McDonald's. I don't know how Panda Express managed to weasel their way in, disparage Panda Express, but when I came home one time, I'm like, Panda Express, that was weird because normally it was like, Mary and Joe's diner or a New Mexican restaurant or
It was a
Italian.
village. It was
It
a
was a
village. It
village.
really was.
Yeah.
And so you really didn't have high-end stuff.
And you couldn't build tall buildings there at all. There was a
Right.
code. It really maintained that town, that
And I
village
think
feel.
that's also what we are worried as the collective worry is that we will buckle to developer dollars who
Yeah.
promise them, I can rebuild this in a year and you'll be able to be up and running, but you got to let me build a 20-story blah, whatever. And
Yeah.
that is what I think all of us are so nervous about because we really want the footprint never changed in my hometown for all of my life, all 60 years. I lived
Yeah.
I lived in the Alphabet Streets, which are part of the obliterated, gone part on Galloway. And then when I was turning 10, my parents, we moved in on my 10th birthday to the home that they presently lost. But every time I went home, even though maybe my address had changed, my town was always the same. It had the grocery stores were the same, the cleaners were the same, everything was in its place. So now this is, I think our concern is that developer dollars won't respect what was because they want to be able to make it into I don't know, a smart city is what they were
Yeah.
saying. Because
Yeah.
now
So,
the Olympics are going to come in 3.5 years to LA, the desperation to get normal back quickly.
yes.
That's my big worry.
Yeah, I totally understand that because you're concerned that the Pacific Palisades of your memory that you cherish will cease to exist forever. And, that may prove to be true. There's so many negative things that compound this kind of a situation, problems with insurance companies and price gouging on affordable replacement housing. And then you read about the incidents of looting and everything. It's a test of the human spirit. Like, how do you remain optimistic? How do you smile through this? And I want to tell you one example of something I saw, and I thought of Ron because whenever an animal is involved, I think of Ron, and I mean that as a compliment. Um, this dog was missing in the wake of the wildfire. This house dog was missing for 5 days, and it was reunited with its owner. I don't know if you all saw this video or
The
not,
guy screaming
but
and crying.
he was crying. He was breaking down that the dog he probably thought he'd lost in a fire, he was reunited with. So I guess among all the rubble, I guess there are little signs of uplifting.
You have to look at for those little nuggets of optimism or happiness or whatever you want to call it, because I know I have. I look at where my parents are. I know that they are safe and they are healthy and they will create a new normal for themselves
Hmm.
as they try to hopefully rebuild whatever it is that they're going to rebuild or our town and everything else. But also just things like one of my mom's clients of many, many, many years called her Sunday and said, I need to buy a house. And so it keeps my mom kind of still with her one foot in her normal world, which makes me happy because the last thing I want is for this stress, this enormous stress, to cause my parents any health issues.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
that
And
I get so excited when my dad says, your mom's client called her and she wants to buy a house. And I said, thank you. Oh,
yes.
yes, let's keep her busy, you
Oh,
know?
absolutely.
So that
Yeah.
kind of stuff just makes me feel so, so lucky and so fortunate and blessed that, yes,
Yeah.
when I see the house and when I see what's gone, I think we're all, I don't know.
It will be very traumatic. There's no question about it. But that's why we wanted to be there. We didn't want them to go to the house by themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Be there with them. So
Absolutely. Well, that's what family's about. And I can speak from some experience having been married so long. When you go through times of trouble, that's when strong marriages feel the power of a strong marriage. And, Ron, you lost your mom not that long ago, a year or two ago, and Rita was there for you. And now you see what she's going through, and you're as one dealing with this. And that's, I think you can gain some power from that, a sense of we're in this together. And
no, we feel very, listen, Greg, I don't deserve all the luck I've had all my life. So I look at this and I said, listen, they're both safe and they're healthy. You know, uh, a much worse phone call is, listen, your dad's been in a horrible accident or something like that.
Right.
sure, yeah,
At the end of the
absolutely.
day, that's what it is. And
Yeah,
go on from there. These are all things. These are all things. They're memories. Yes, we lost some treasured memories, but we didn't lose them from here.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yep, for
My
sure.
mom
Absolutely.
is so cute. She's like, just think we can create new memories. And she says, and you and your sister don't have to rifle through all of our junk when we die. And I went, okay, Mom, I guess that's a
Well,
little silver lining.
Well, and
You know?
there's a lining to that because we did that with my mom. I mean, when we went to my mom's house, I go, oh my God, all of this stuff. It was just overwhelming.
It
Oh
was.
yeah.
Mom kept everything, Greg. I was like, oh, Mom, why
Yes.
can't you keep this stuff,
Yeah.
So,
I can relate because I'm the hoarder, so I can relate.
yeah.
Hey,
Mom tried to spin a little positive, which made me happy to think that they were sort of still normal. There was a
that's
little,
great.
yeah, there was. So that made me
That's
happy.
wonderful. Well, you're a strong family that is getting through this together, and I really appreciate you two sharing this because I really wanted to humanize and personalize because when you're just watching on TV from the across the country and you don't know anyone directly involved, I think maybe you have a tendency just to pass it off. But this is an extraordinary one of the catastrophes of all of our lifetimes, and to personalize it and talk honestly about it, I really appreciate that.
Oh, you're so
Well, we
sweet.
appreciate you,
We
Greg.
love you
You're one of the
and your
best,
wonderful wife.
one of the best storytellers I've ever known, and I'll never hesitate to share a story with you.
I apprate that. Thank you both.
All right,
You're
man.
welcome.
Say hi to
Take
Arlene
care.
for us. We'll save you some bacon.
We sure will. Thank you. You know you won't. You're just teasing me by saying that. All
Take
right.
care.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
All right. All right. How do you figure out how to turn that off, Ron? Can you do
I
it?
got it. Here you go. Leave meeting.
All right, guys, listen up. Sheets and giggles. It's almost Valentine's Day. It's love making season. Nothing helps you make love better than good quality sheets, soft, cool sheets, pillows, comforters, the whole 9 yards, the whole 10 yards, the whole 20 yards. All right. Sheetsgiggles.com/Greg. Promo code thruple. That is the word couple with THR in front of it. THROUPLE. That code gets you buy two, get one free off of 14% off their entire site, building up to February 14th, Valentine's Day. I'm telling you, go again. Your lovers, even if you're not having sex with people, all right, they're damn good sheets. Sheetsgiggles.com/Greg. Promo code thruple for buy two, get one free on already 14% off the entire site, guys. Go now.
Wow,
Greg,
how about that?
Greg, that's when you start talking again, Greg.
I know. No, I'm ready. Before we got dad jokes, 3 facts, Jack. I got a gripe. The gripes of wrath. I got that too. But before we get started, I want to tell you what happened in my backyard like an hour ago. We're
Baby.
recording this on Sunday evening, early evening. An iguana the size of a giant iguana was in my backyard. Okay.
Now
It was
I can really picture that because of that. Like that was a great analogy.
Chris, there was a house the size of a house.
it
in
was
my backyard.
4.5 to 5 feet long, counting the tail. It was orange. It was exotic looking. Iguanas are modern day dinosaurs. I
Dad,
sort of love them.
Dad, you're from South Florida. Like seeing an iguana in South Florida is like seeing air.
I know, but one this size.
Even though you don't see air. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said that. That was a
Okay.
terrible example.
All right. So
We're
I'm
both
out
bad at this
backyard.
today.
Look, I take a golf club with me. I'm in the backyard. I'm trying to chase this thing out of my yard.
Why is Mom not videotaping this?
I know she should have. It would have been funny. Because you know what? It wasn't even like a modern golf club. It was a golf club that Paul Frankie gave me from the 1960s. Anyway,
A literal persimmon.
Just wouldn't like. I don't think a more unnecessary detail will be shared anywhere in the United States today
I know.
than what you just did.
okay, R.I.P. Paul Frankie. Anyway, I chased the iguana out of my yard. It was a happy ending. Now, I want to get to, before I
You
get to
gave-
dad jokes and 3 facts, Jack, I want to get to sports a little bit.
You gave the iguana a happy ending.
Yes.
Gave me the Frankie Spanky.
No, man. Okay. We're recording this just before my Ravens are going to beat the Bills. And
No, the Bills are going to win.
okay, we'll see about that. The story of the NFL divisional round playoffs so far is the Detroit Lions taking a giant crap. I tell you, the myth of Dan the Man Campbell has taken a hit.
Dan Candle. I mean,
It blew out.
are we really going to rip them with all the injuries that they had? Like, I know
Yes.
they. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, they're at home. I don't care about injuries. You give up 45 points at home as the number one seed. They are the nightmare of the playoffs so far. I'm sorry.
Yeti, look up how many defensive players the Lions have on their IR. Go ahead, Dad.
It's okay. It's fine. I don't care if the number's 5. You don't give up
It's like
45
12.
points
It's like
at home.
12. It's like 12.
Okay. Anyway, assuming my Ravens win, all is well with the world. Okay. I want to make predictions on
16.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
16.
Yeah.
As
Well, that's
of
crazy.
the 18th of January.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
as of yesterday.
Okay, but the point is,
No
despite
excuse. Like when the Dolphins don't lose, when the Dolphins lose, the team that you cover, you're making excuses out the ass. But this team, no excuse.
okay, they choked. They
did.
gagged.
They
The
did.
Detroit Lions gagged. And the irony is, America was rooting for them. They are the team America was rooting for, the ultimate underdog, no championship since 1957, and they gagged. They vomited all over the screen, all over your TV screen.
I mean, that obviously, them losing is the biggest story, maybe, but the internet, I would say the biggest story from the first 3 games. Obviously, we haven't had Bills Ravens yet, but the internet coming after Patrick Mahomes a little bit. You know, I think the internet, Aikman on the broadcast, they're getting calls out the ass as we keep the theme going of out the ass. They
Yeah.
get every call. And then Mahomes doing the flopping stuff, going out of bounds, looking for those extra calls. I'm just saying, people love the Chiefs. They could go on to win 3 straight Super Bowls, first team to ever do that. You know, it's hard to really hate on them that much, but the internet has started to come for, hey, Patrick, you already have such like everything perfect. Let's not be the
Right.
flopping guy now.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think it's illegitimate. They've been winning close games all year. They're not as good as the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, their
Okay.
defense is though. Their defense is.
Yeah, it is. And having Chris Jones back healthy is huge.
They've been winning close games out the ass.
Right. They have. I want to switch gears. I want to each of us give our prediction for the CFP Ohio State Notre Dame championship game which is tomorrow night, Monday, the night this podcast comes out. You want me to start, or who wants to start?
I'll take the points. Give me the whatever Notre Dame's plus. I'll take that.
Okay, no, I want a score. I want a winner and a score.
He wants winners.
What is the spread?
Last time I looked, it was like 8.5, something like that.
I'll take the Ohio State 30-24.
Okay, so you don't have them covering.
No, I'm
Okay.
taking Notre Dame to cover.
I'm going to take Ohio State in a rout, 36-17.
Fun.
Yeti?
Fun.
I'm not picking scores because I don't know. But I'm going to stick with my Notre Dame pick just because that's what I
Pick
said
a
before.
score.
That's what I said before. Okay.
Make up two numbers.
I mean, you guys are both
All right.
weird. Dad needing a score is weird.
28-22, Notre Dame.
I'm just surrounded by weirdos. My dad
Because-
my
Go ahead.
dad wanting a score is weird. Yeti refusing to give one is
I
weird.
know. Who doesn't give a score?
Because I think for Notre Dame to win, Ohio State's going to have to play as well as they have this whole time. They didn't play as great in the last game. So I think they have to be perfect they have to basically blow Notre Dame out if they're going to win. If it's going to be close, I'm going to choose Notre Dame 28-22. That's my pick. I've been wrong on everything this postseason. Let's see if I can stay that way.
All right. I covered the Orange Bowl game, was not impressed by Notre Dame, was not impressed by their quarterback. I think OSU is going to kick ass. But we'll see. Dad jokes.
Can I leave?
No.
He's always kind of thinking that his puns are in vogue. He cracks himself up like an egg with a yolk. And now Chris's morale is broke. Dad jokes.
Just talking right over the open. Like, is your internet bad? Like, why were you talking right there?
Number 3. What is a house's favorite band?
The Doors.
Correct. The Doors.
That's one.
Number 2. Why do you never see elephants hiding in trees?
Because they have their own trunk.
Something about
No?
the trunks.
Go on.
Because they're really good at it. Number 1.
That tricks us.
How do you organize a party on Mars? Zzz. Planet.
Not bad.
That got a laugh out of Yeti.
Not
You
bad.
can't disguise a laugh. If it's funny and you get an outward laugh, it's a winner. 3 facts, Jack.
There are 3 things that interest him, so sit right back for 3 facts, Jack.
You don't need me for this part of the pod. I could probably go.
Yeah, no, stay. Enjoy yourself. Number 3, the medical name for an infant's first poop is meconium. Number 2, actor Dolph Lundgren has a master's degree in chemical engineering and shares the same IQ as Albert Einstein. Number 1, famed painter Leonardo da Vinci usually wrote backward, right to left.
That's weird.
Well, what language was he writing, though?
That's
Because
an
some
unknown-
languages, that's their natural way of writing. Like Hebrew, you write right to left.
Wow.
You might have gotten
Okay.
tricked.
Dad,
Okay.
Your epidermis is showing.
My what?
Your epidermis.
My skin?
Ah, that's like
okay.
that one fact. Like the first fact you said reminded me of that.
Okay. I got that right. You failed to confound me. I got a quick gripe, okay? Gripes of wrath.
Annoyances, complaints. Greg's got grievances out the ass, so buckle up, Buttercup. It's time for Greg Cody's Gripes of Wrath.
All right. Sometimes I got a gripe that's weird. It's like all me and everybody else is going, no, you're wrong. Come on. Okay, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. This is a gripe that I think everybody shares. When you go into a bathroom now, you put your hand under the faucet. Nothing comes out. Bring back the handle. This is an invention that nobody was asking for. It's not too much of an effort to turn a handle to get the spigot to go on and bring water out.
Are you that dumb? Dad, are you that dumb?
I do this. It never works for me.
Dad, it's germs. Like, it's so you don't have to touch
please.
the nozzles. You're in the
Come
bathroom
on.
where people shit.
Oh, please. What are we in, a pandemic?
I'm just saying, like, that's the clear reason for that.
Okay, peck of dirt. Nelly Doodle. Okay,
Hits her with
peck of dirt before you die. We don't need this. And the technology has not been invented correctly. It doesn't work.
No, I'm with you. I'm terrible at it. I am the king of, like, just for a little water, for a little spit of water. You're like,
Right. And it's embarrassing when you're in a bathroom next to a couple of people and they got it flowing, man. They got it flowing, and I'm going like this.
I
I'm
get
moving
like
my hands.
you get like 3 swipes back and forth, and I'm just it. Peck of dirt.
No, it's totally ridiculous. All right, are we done?
I actually, the one thing that you reminded me about that I actually have this like a similar thing. What was it? Oh my god, my head just had a brain fart. You just made me think of it. All right, keep going. I'll see if I can think of what I was just thinking of. Sorry.
Okay.
That felt almost like it was you wanted it to be a back in my day, Greg, but you didn't have enough, so you used it for gripes of wrath. Is that what we're going to get?
Oh, I know what it was. I found it. It's trash cans. Our studio at the Metal Lark studio has these trash cans now, where it's like a sensor. You wave your hand over to get it open. It's like, now that's an advancement we didn't need. You know what works fine? The foot pedal.
Yes.
You step on it, the trash thing pops up. Now I'm like, I have like trash in my hand, and I'm sitting there on the garbage trying to get the damn thing to pop up.
Yes.
And it's like, that's unnecessary, because the foot thing, like, there's no germ problems with putting your foot on this little latch.
Chris,
no,
Cody,
that's a very good point by you.
I am a foot guy.
And to Yeti's point, some of these gripes are akin to back in my days, because a lot of them revolve around technology being unnecessary. Okay, in this case, just do the thing, do the handle, the water comes out, it's all fine, it's all good. Hey, let's wrap it up here.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, I want to thank Ron Magill and Rita for coming on to share some pretty serious heartache they're going through with the loss of her childhood house where her parents had to be evacuated. I mean, it's a big deal. The wildfires, they continue. It's a terrible thing happening to the country, and Ron and Rita are going through it personally. Thanks for sharing. Thanks to you all, podcast family, for joining us again. Really appreciate you, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
I'm in one of the. I've obviously done this episode from my car, and I'm in one of the few places in this country where you can be sweating in your car if the car's off. Like, everywhere else in America right now would probably be freezing in their car with with the car completely off, and I am starting to sweat. So.
Right.
33 here in Georgia, Chris.
Yeah. It's like 78 right now.
All right. I do see your armpit stains. I'm just kidding. You're going to look now. I don't see them. They look
all right. All right, that kind of thing.
Good looking armpits, that kind of thing.